Hey there and welcome to Matt's Garage. Today I'm going to show you how to take the battery out of your turbocharged PT Cruiser. This is a different procedure than with the non-turbocharged PT. I also have a video showing you how to remove those batteries. On the non-turbocharged one they have the more traditional little clamp down at the base that holds it, but on the turbocharged version they use this clamp and bar to hold it down. And it's actually pretty easy. There's just a 13mm fastener right there. See that bolt head right there? You got to get that out. And then you can just lift up that end of the bar and slide this end of the bar down, because this end has a hook on it and it just hooks under the battery tray there. Of course, you also got to undo your terminals. You take the negative one off first. They're both 10mm. And you'll have to lift the air box up. The air box just lifts up. It's just in rubber grommets. So I'll show you that here in a minute. I'll just get you set up on the tripod. Okay guys, essentially this is all you're going to need. I got a 10mm ratcheting wrench to undo the terminals, and then this long extension and a 13mm socket. We'll get the fastener off down there. So as I said, negative terminal off first. That's because electricity travels from ground to positive. So we'll just tuck that aside here. We're going to be cleaning those terminals up while it's apart. Now when you're taking the positive off, be very careful that you don't touch any other metal surfaces, because you can actually short out the battery to ground. If you can contact your wrench to metal on the body of the car or whatever, it'll ground out that terminal. You could get electric shock off it too, so be very, very careful. Just put those down there so they don't get in our way. Okay, so we just stick this down here. You do need a long extension. This one looks ridiculous until you get it in there, and it's just right. And you do have to completely undo the bolt. It doesn't just hook over it or anything. Okay, so you don't want to drop that bolt, so get your hand down in there and kind of get the bolt between. I did drop it. Luckily it fell through to the floor. You can see that's a good healthy long bolt. Put a little oil on it before you put it back together. It will make it go a lot easier. So now we should be able to lift up, push down on this side. Maybe if we get this out of the way it will help. Now we have some room to push it down, and it's just you got to route it around some wires down there, but there we go. But there's your bracket there to hold your battery down. Really good setup, actually, really sturdy, a lot better than those little plastic. I've seen those plastic clamps let go before. So now unfortunately we don't have a handle on this battery, but I'm going to try and just slip the air box out, and the problem is it's going to want to spring back into my way. You can also take the hose right off the air box here. It's just an 8mm on the clamp there, and get it right out of the car, and then you don't have to struggle. But I'm gonna just try and do it the simplest way first, with removing the least stuff. So there, lift that up. Yeah, that's not too bad. It'll sit over there. And then you got to kind of lift the battery up and back, because there's not a lot of room here, and the tray wants to come with it. So and then we'll put a little dielectric grease down around the crimp here. Keep the corrosion out of the crimp. Just put a liberal amount up inside the terminal, all on this blade everywhere, because over time all that corrosion builds up on there, and it all adds to the resistance in your car's wiring system, and that's when you start to get electrical faults. Okay, well, I've got everything pretty much buttoned back up in this corner here, so I'm just getting ready to drop the battery in, and I'll have to lift the air box back out of the way, but then I'll show you how to clamp it down and how to connect up the cables properly. I'm just going to pop this air box back out. I actually had it completely removed from the car, which would have made this much easier. But for the purposes of the video, I wanted to do it in the simplest way with taking the least amount off. So I actually reinstalled it just for the purposes of the video. I am going to just tuck these cables to the side so that I can just drop the battery in. It's a little annoying this battery doesn't have a handle, but we'll get it in there. That box is annoying. Annoying but doable. That's in the tray now. I got our positive there and our negative there. Make sure you have that straight before you drop the battery in. And now we can clip our air box back in. So we line up that back tab. And I just went and put Vaseline on all the tabs so that they go in easy on the air box. There we go. Push that down. Now we can just do up our clamp first, and then we'll do our battery cables. So here is the hold down, and I actually painted up the bolt. It was kind of rusty, so just went ahead and painted that up. And you hook this end first. You got to come down here and hook that end, and then that end lines up with the threaded insert down there. Oh, perfect. That's all there is to it. I just have to tighten up that bolt down there now, so it might be a little tricky to get down in there, but you can reach down around the air box and guide it in. There we go. Lock down into the threads there. I put a little oil on it so it'll finger tighten pretty nicely there. You can see that's coming up snug already. Just make sure this is kind of square on the top of the battery is all. And that's actually already clamped down pretty firmly. I don't think I'll go any more than that. You don't want to break your battery, which you actually could because you're just tightening a bolt, so don't go crazy. You can see it says front right there, and there's actually a bit of a lip on the front. That's to keep the battery from sliding ahead in a collision or whatever. There's no lip on the back, so just make sure you have that facing the right way. Okay, so now all that's left is to connect the battery cables. You always connect the positive cable first actually, and that is because power comes from ground. And when you're connecting it and tightening it up, just be careful you don't short out your wrench against anything. And you don't have to go crazy on these clamps. I am going to just, with a little snug, I'm going to go back and forth a little bit just to make sure we have a good point of contact there. Now I'll snug it up. There we go. Now the negative cable. Give that one a bit of a twist too. And this one doesn't matter if you hit any other metal, but just don't hit your wrench against the positive. That would be a dead short within the battery, so that would be bad. Well, there you go. That's all there is to changing out the battery in your turbocharged PT Cruiser. I do hope you found the video helpful and informative. Thanks a lot for watching Matt's Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.